Have you ever struggled with writing a user manual that your customers will love? Let's delve into the importance of a well-written user manual, a tool that often goes unnoticed, yet holds a significant impact on customer satisfaction and the overall user experience. The user manual is the bridge between your product and your customer. It's the guide that helps them navigate the complexities of your product, turning a daunting task into a satisfying experience. However, many business owners face challenges when creating these manuals. They grapple with crafting clear and concise instructions, structuring the manual for easy navigation, and incorporating visuals effectively. This struggle often results in a manual that leaves customers confused and frustrated, hampering their experience with your product. But it doesn't have to be this way. A well-crafted user manual isn't just an instruction guide, it's an ambassador for your brand, a silent salesman and a customer service rep, working round the clock to ensure your customers' needs are met. Remember, a well-written user manual can be your silent salesman and customer service rep, working 24/7. Creating a user manual starts with understanding your audience. Just as a chef tailors a dish to the palates of his diners, so too must you adapt your content to suit the needs and expectations of your users. Consider their level of technical knowledge. Are they tech-savvy, or might they need a little extra guidance? Also, think about their needs. What problems are they trying to solve with your product? What tasks will they perform most often? Keep in mind their expectations as well. How do they anticipate interacting with your product? Do they expect it to be simple and intuitive, or are they prepared for a learning curve? Remember, a user manual is a bridge between your product and its users. It's your opportunity to guide them, to answer their questions before they're even asked, and to provide a positive user experience. To create a user manual that resonates with your customers, you must first know who they are. Once you know your audience, it's time to define the purpose of your user manual. Like a compass in the wilderness, the purpose of your manual guides its direction and focus. It's not just about how to use a product or service, though that's certainly a key part. A well-crafted manual can serve various purposes. It could be a go-to guide for troubleshooting, helping users navigate through common issues and solutions. It may also serve as a tour guide, unveiling the richness of features that your product or service offers, showing the user not just the how, but also the why of each feature. But whatever the purpose, clarity is paramount. Be as crystal clear as possible when defining your manual's purpose. Avoid ambiguity. Remember, a user manual is a bridge between your product and your customers. A clear purpose will guide the structure and content of your user manual. With a clear purpose in mind, we move on to structuring your manual. Now that you have a firm grasp on your audience and the purpose of your manual, the next step is to give it a logical structure. This is a crucial step, because an organized manual ensures your users can easily locate the information they need without having to sift through unnecessary details. Imagine a book without a table of contents or an index. It would be like navigating through a maze blindfolded. This is why it's vital to break down your manual into easily digestible sections, each dedicated to a specific aspect of the product or service. Start by creating clear headings for each section. The headings should be concise and indicative of the content within each section. For instance, if you're writing a manual for a coffee machine, you might have sections titled "Setting up your machine," "Making your first cup," and "Maintenance and cleaning." Next, under each heading, further divide the information into subheadings. Subheadings help to break down the information into bite-sized pieces, making it easier for users to understand and follow. In our coffee machine example, under the "Making your first cup" section, you might have subheadings like "Filling the water tank," "Selecting the coffee grounds," and "Brewing the coffee." Finally, create an index or table of contents at the beginning of the manual. This is a roadmap that guides users to the exact information they need. It's also a good idea to include a glossary of terms at the end of the manual, particularly if your product or service is technical in nature. Remember, the goal here is to make your manual as user-friendly as possible. This means avoiding industry jargon where possible, and explaining any necessary technical terms in clear, simple language. The easier your manual is to understand, the more effective it will be in helping your users get the most out of your product or service. To sum up, a well-structured manual is like a well-planned journey. It starts with a clear roadmap. The table of contents takes the user through well-marked paths, the sections and subheadings, and ends with a helpful glossary that clarifies any confusing terms along the way. A well-structured manual will guide your users smoothly through the information they need. Now, Let's delve into the art of writing clear and concise instructions. In the realm of user manuals, clarity is king. Your instructions must be easily understood, even by someone who may have zero familiarity with your product. So how do we achieve this? Let's break it down. Firstly, always use an active voice. Passive voice can be vague and confusing. For example, instead of saying the button should be pressed, say press the button. It's direct, it's clear, and it leaves no room for misunderstanding. Secondly, keep your language simple. This is not the time for fancy words or industry jargon. Use plain, everyday language that anyone can understand. Remember, your goal is not to impress with your vocabulary, but to communicate effectively. Now let's talk about structure. When writing instructions, a step-by-step format is your best friend. Think of your instructions as a journey. You're guiding your user from point A to point B. Each step is a landmark on that journey. Make sure these landmarks are clearly defined and logically organized. Of course, writing clear instructions is only half the battle. The other half is making sure they work. That's where thorough testing comes in. You need to put yourself in the shoes of your user. Follow your own instructions exactly as they're written. Does everything make sense? Do all the steps lead to the desired outcome? If not, it's back to the drawing board. And lastly, never underestimate the power of feedback. If possible, have someone else follow your instructions. A fresh pair of eyes can often spot issues that you may have overlooked. Remember, your user manual is a reflection of your product. If your instructions are clear and concise, your users will have a positive experience. If they're not, well, you get the picture. Clear instructions are the heart of any user manual. Let's not forget the power of visuals in a user manual. Just as a picture is worth 1,000 words, a well-placed diagram, screenshot, or icon can convey complex instructions far more effectively than text alone. Imagine you're trying to assemble a piece of furniture. Would you rather read a page-long description or follow a clear, step-by-step diagram? Exactly. Most of us would choose the latter. The same principle applies to user manuals. Visuals can break down complex concepts into digestible segments, making the instructions easier to understand and follow. Diagrams can map out processes, screenshots can guide users through software interfaces, and icons can highlight important points or warnings. Remember, the goal of a user manual is to facilitate understanding, and visuals are a powerful tool in achieving that. They can help users navigate your product more efficiently and reduce the likelihood of errors or confusion. Visuals can turn a good manual into a great one. The final step in creating a user manual is the review and revision process. Now, you might be tempted to think you're done once you've written the last word, added the final graphic, and formatted all your pages. But alas, my friends, that is not the case. The review and revision process is every bit as critical as the previous steps we've discussed. Why, you ask? Well, let's think about it. You've poured your heart and soul into creating this user manual, but it's not really about you, is it? It's about the person on the other end, the user who is trying to understand your product and rely on your manual for guidance. So, reviewing your manual for clarity, accuracy, and completeness is absolutely vital. Imagine if you were handed a map with missing streets or incorrect directions. You'd end up lost, frustrated, and with a less than stellar opinion of the map maker. The same principle applies to your user manual. If it's confusing, inaccurate, or missing key information, your users will be left feeling lost, frustrated, and perhaps a tad bit miffed at your company. So how do you ensure your manual is up to snuff? One great way is to get feedback from users. This could be through user testing, surveys, or simply asking for their thoughts and suggestions. This feedback is as precious as gold, my friends, because it gives you a glimpse into how real users interact with your manual, what makes sense to them, and what areas might need some improvement. But don't stop there. As your product evolves over time, so should your manual. Regular updates are essential to ensure that your manual stays relevant, accurate, and helpful. After all, a user manual that doesn't reflect the current version of your product is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. So remember, a user manual is not a one-and-done project. It's a living, breathing document that requires constant care and attention. A user manual is never truly finished, but a process of continuous improvement. So, there you have it. A step-by-step guide to creating a user manual your customers will love. We've taken you from understanding your audience's needs to defining the purpose of your manual, organizing it properly, writing clear instructions, and using visuals effectively. Don't forget the crucial step of review and revision to ensure your manual is as effective as it can be. Remember, a great user manual is not just about the product, but about the experience you are giving your customers.